my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. So today I had the privilege of touring a really cool greenhouse. It's not like just any greenhouse. It's local to my area, but it's actually like a massive, substantial houseplant grower, and like they ship to big box stores all over the US. So it's like a fairly massive place, and I only had time to tour one of their plants. I believe they have 4 really big plants. Like, and when I say plant, I mean greenhouse and like manufacturing area where they grow thousands upon thousands upon thousands of plants. The cool part is I got to see some of the cool plants that they like have currently out on the market that they are selling to, what, distributors? Is that the term? I don't know, sorry. Selling to places like Walmart and grocery stores and Target and stuff like that. So I got to look at the plants that they're currently selling, but then the coolest part is I also got to check out their research and development wing where they're testing out different plants. And figuring out whether or not they want to like commit to growing them on a larger scale. And that was like the most exciting place. But I also got to take home some plants, and they're really cool plants, and I'm very excited about them. Also, I should mention, I would love to like disclose the name of the greenhouse, of the grower, of the company, but I don't know if it was a little bit unclear as to whether or not I'm allowed to do that. So I'm just gonna like refrain from saying who it is. My friend works there, and so like he let me in and he said it's fine if I film and everything and like release a video, but he was like, I don't know for sure if it'd be okay or not for you to reveal the name, so I'd rather be safe rather than sorry. So I apologize, I cannot reveal the exact company, but like there's still a lot of cool plants, and you should know that this company does distribute these plants all over the USA to big box stores, to grocery stores, to nurseries, places that you visit. So like they're a fairly substantial grower in the ring, I suppose. Of course, we had to stop and get some coffee because I'm a sleep-deprived mother, but then we carpooled to the greenhouses. And the very first thing that we saw was a sea of orchids. We ogled at those for a little bit because this greenhouse really does specialize in Phalaenopsis orchids. That's one of the things that they actually get the most profit from. But then we moved on to the portion of their greenhouse where they grow plants en masse that are currently going out to the market. They're currently being distributed. Okay, these ring of fires. They don't fall off, Kroger. Yeah, they don't fall off.
You guys know something about that.
I actually thought that some of these pink princesses looked quite nice. They had really big leaves, and a lot of them had really dark leaves too. And even some of them just had impeccable variegation. You know, there's just like a handful that seemed to have really strong genetics. So that was pretty cool to look at. And then of course they also had a good selection of white princess, white knight, white wizard, like that whole thing. I mean, we've been seeing those popping up in big box stores, so that makes a lot of sense that they are growing them here currently and sending them actively to big box stores. They've been really trying to make pineapple plants a thing, which I think is kind of funny, but I mean, they're cute. They're a type of bromeliad, which I don't generally like anyways, but if it's your thing, I mean. Acacia black velvet, these are beautiful.
Do you want one?
Well, I already have one, but they're beautiful. Like, there's a really nice specimens. They also had so many just random alocasia species. I'm not as well versed in alocasia, so I didn't know the names of all of them, and they also didn't really have tags readily available on every single plant, so I did my best to ID them, but I don't have all of their IDs. I'm sorry. But they're all really beautiful. So many. We came across a much larger section of white princesses, so I decided to be on the hunt for one with pink leaves, just because I've always wanted a white princess with pink leaves. Ooh, here's one, I think. Ooh, that one has a pink leaf. It's fun. Pops of pink. Like right there! There's one! Like gentleman, Clay retrieved it for me, and I was ecstatic. Yes! Yes!
Amazing.
That's so good. Looking at all of these silver dragons made me kind of need an alocasia silver dragon. These ones look so nice.
You'll have to pick a
Look
good
at that
one.
leaf.
I think that one.
Ooh, wow. That's really pretty. Okay, next was like the very, very exciting part, which was getting into the research and development area. The first area was more like they're just kind of testing out plants, testing out fertilizers, testing out different sources for their plants, because like they'll bring plants in from maybe even like other countries, like they'll import plants, they'll get plants from like other growers. A lot of these plants that were in this specific area were more unique, and then there are like 3 other really big research and development rooms where they've committed to growing them on a slightly larger scale, but they're still testing out suppliers and growing techniques and deciding whether or not they would want to grow them on a larger scale to eventually sell them, because they have to figure out like if they're even capable of really growing them on a large scale sustainably, and figure out if there are any opportunities to bring them to the market. Wow, Thai constellations right off the bat. There were a few gems in that little alcove, like the Thai constellations and a philodendron painted lady, begonia. I think it was Benigo pink or something, but feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but some sort of cane-ish begonia, syngonium frosted heart, and like a whole bunch of other stuff. The Biliatia black looked really, really awesome. But then I turned around and I went into the other room that was, wow. Aww. That's beautiful. Okay, right off the bat, I immediately beheld one of the most beautiful Paraiso Verdes I have ever laid my eyes upon. Oh my word, the variegation was flawless. And I believe that it's based on heat, the variegation is. I mean, that makes sense because it was a very warm room. That's really pretty. What is that? There was one section that was just filled with oofed plants. They were just not happy. They were flopped over. Look at these. These are all so sad. I mean, they kind of looked like they had root rot or like were severely underwatered or something like that. My friend said it was probably because they were testing something out for like research purposes, and it flopped and went wrong. It was probably either because of that or because they're testing out a supplier, and when the plants got shipped in, they just fell flat and did not do well from that supplier. He doesn't specifically know why, but that was his best guess based on kind of what he knows goes on in here. Okay, so this is a sport variegation that they set aside to see if it'll do anything. This is more sport variegation of the money tree. Isn't that cool? This was my first time seeing a Stapelia grandiflora in person, and let me tell you, I loved touching this thing. It's unexpectedly velvety, and yeah, I just love the way that it grows. Like, the shape of it is chef's kiss. So good. There were so many really cool plants in this one specific area, and like I couldn't hold still. I kept on like jumping from plant to plant, so I'm sorry that like each plant is a little bit brief, but I was just so excited and like literally just gasping every single time I saw a new cool plant. They had a few very large plants in the back, like a giant pink princess and Thai constellation. But then we moved on to another room where they had more specific species growing in mass that they were test growing. These are El Choco Reds.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. These are fun.
There's so many of them. And then Shavarianas. Looks like, yeah, Syndapsis trubei. These are like velvety. That's really cool. These are cool. These jewel orchids. I love jewel orchids like this.
What is that?
Jewel orchids. The Ludicea discolor. They're so pretty. I had so much fun just admiring all these plants, and while I was in the midst of that, I noticed a plant that looked really familiar that I hadn't seen anywhere else. Because I bought it and I was like, that's not, so it was labeled as Syngonium window leaf, and I was like, that is not a Syngonium, that's a Monstera. And so ever since then I've just been like, this is a Monstera, but no ID, because I don't know what it is. But now I know it is a Monstera, but they're still calling it window leaf rather than whatever species it is. So it's like a philodendron narrow, but it's like
It's yellow.
It's yellow. I think these are more El Choco Reds, which is super exciting.
Do you have these?
I don't have one, but I have a friend who's sending me one. These are variegated Monstera Adansonii.
Which I'm assuming you want.
I mean,
I think
perhaps, yes. Is this a Mame? Oh no, it's a Pastazano silk. Wow. Those are really pretty. These are Adoras, I believe. Yeah.
Do you want one?
Alocasia Adora variegata yellow. Perhaps.
And one of those.
Perhaps, yeah. Those are pretty cool. Not gonna lie. Yeah, Alocasia frydek.
But
And
you
these
can
are
make a
also
video
really
about them.
cool. Oh, absolutely. Let me tell you, I saw a lot of gorgeous plants today, but I think that the one that took my breath away the most was this Alocasia frydek. Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's just a sea of beauty. I went back into that first research and development room and took note of which plants I was interested in so that my friend could ask about them, because I didn't want to take anything out of that room since they hadn't really started officially growing them yet. But with that, I made my final plant selections and I went home. Okay, so I did leave the greenhouse with a few plants. I did purchase them. I did not get them completely for free, but I mean, I got them for very, very discounted prices. So this one is a white princess. I already have a philodendron white princess. So part of me was like, oh, do I really want to get it? But this was so discounted, you guys. And I was specifically looking out for one with pink variegation, and I found one. And it's so beautiful. This is probably one of the most beautiful philodendron white princesses I have ever laid my eyes on. So this leaf has pink variegation. The leaf before it also has a very small amount of pink variegation, like right here in the corner. And I believe it looks like there are 3 plants in this pot. And I'm overwhelmed because the thing that I love the most about the white princess is the chance of there being pink in the leaves, and the fact that I have one that specifically has pink when I feel like that's a fairly rare occurrence. I mean, I was looking at hundreds of white princesses out there and there were only like 2 or 3 that had pink on the leaves. And I've been really hoping that mine would throw out some pink. It really has not. If anything, even the white variegation has been decreasing. I do have plans actually to chop it up potentially and try to give it a little bit of a makeover. But yeah, this one I just couldn't resist. Even look at the petiole. Do you see how pronounced that pink is? Because look, it's just a straight through line from the petiole to right here, this middle portion, and it just stretches out into the leaves. So this is just stunning. And the next plant that I got from that general area, like these are currently out in the market, is a philodendron ring of fire. And wow, this is a very beautiful specimen. Again, I got to just kind of take my pick out of a huge abundance of plants. So this one this is a new leaf that's emerging. The coloration on this, the variegation, holy moly. Like this, I can hardly comprehend how absolutely stunning this is. I think it would look really, really nice going up a pole. Yeah, I also don't really know where I'm gonna put all these plants, full disclosure. The whole time I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna have room for this. But I was also thinking to myself, like, when else am I gonna get a chance to get these plants for such a good price? All right, now moving along, I picked up 5 plants from research and development. I mean, I'm sure you guys, you saw the footage. I'm sure you can kind of assume maybe some of the plants that I got. There were a lot more than that I would have wanted to get. But with some of the plants that were in that like first room, I didn't want to take any of those because they seemed to be a little bit more specialty, like the variegated Pachira aquatica. Like that one was really, really cool, but there was only one of its kind, and they specifically set it aside. Like they pulled it because they have a lot of money trees. So they pulled it because it was a sport variegated thing and it's very special. So they're like isolating it to see if it keeps doing its sport thing and if maybe they might be able to continue that on with more plants. So they do that with a lot of their research and development plants. With other ones, they're testing out like new sources for plants and they only grab a few. So theoretically, I could have taken some from that first room, but I just didn't feel comfortable doing that. Like the guy that I was with, my friend, he was like, I mean, you can, or I can ask. And I was like, I don't want to mess with it because they have one specific person that is in charge of research and development. And I think it's a pet peeve of hers when people just pull things from her projects that she's working on. Like, I feel for her. Like, I would not want that to happen to me if I were in her shoes. So I did not really touch those ones, but then the other ones that were growing on a grander scale, like those were a little bit more accessible for me. So the first one, oh, frick. Okay, we're going here. It's an alocasia frydek. I just objectively, this plant is so stunning. Let's just take a moment to look at each leaf. And this plant is normally very expensive. And I know it might be coming down in price a little bit because all plants are. Yeah, I'm just speechless because I never in a million years thought I would get an alocasia frydek. That's all I can really say. I am just a little bit concerned about my ability to keep this alive. Alocasia are not the easiest genus, in my opinion. I only have 3 alocasia, so I also just don't have like a ton of experience with them. And so I know that they can be a little bit finicky, and especially this one. Like, I don't think that this is super easy to grow. So I am a little bit concerned. In my mind, this is like my one and only chance. Unless I like have a corm or something in here. Yeah, I could not resist grabbing it because like I could. And it's so beautiful. I'm thinking I did get 2 other alocasias that I'm about to show you. And I think I'm gonna try to put them all in self-watering pots because my alocasia dragon scale is in a self-watering pot and it seems to really like it. I think that these guys really enjoy the consistency of self-watering pots or even being in pond. But since I've never grown anything in pond, period, I don't know if I want to jump to that immediately. But either self-watering or even no drainage, I would definitely consider growing my alocasias in those circumstances. It's hard to commit to that, so I don't know. I might test out no drainage with my alocasia cuprea first, and I'll leave these guys in these pots for a while. It's what they've been growing in, so I'm assuming they'll be okay to stick in these pots for a few more months, maybe, hopefully. The next alocasia that I picked up. Let me see, I'm looking up the name because I actually was not familiar with this alocasia at all. I'd never heard of it, but it was beautiful. And it is the Macrorhiza camouflage alocasia. And I thought this one was just really, really freaking cute. Like, look at that. It has a much more speckled, I mean, it kind of looks almost like a Syngonium mojito in the way that it's variegated. Like, it's just very splotchy type variegation. And I just thought it was really cute. So look at that. Oh my gosh, I'm very happy with this. But pretty much everything that I said about the alocasia frydek, I'm saying about this one, although this one, of course, I'm less familiar with, so I wasn't quite as like hyped to see it, but I think that it's really, really, really cute. And then this alocasia I have heard of. It's the Alocasia Adora variegata aria, because it's like the yellow variegated Alocasia Adora. And just look, oh my word. Are you kidding me? Like that? Like, look at that. And look at this half moon. Oh my gosh. But like, are you kidding me? This is just ridiculously beautiful. I have officially doubled my alocasia collections. I only had 3 before this, and now I have 3 more, and now I have 6. I started thinking of something to say, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, no, it's gone. I can't remember. All right, that concludes the alocasia portion. But next, this is another one. I was a little bit hesitant to grab one because they were looking a little bit rough, at least a few of them, and I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with that. I think that this plant is a little bit finicky, but I'm doing it anyways because, again, when else am I gonna have an opportunity like this, you know? And this is a variegated Monstera Adansonii. Oh wow, this particular specimen is quite beautiful. I mean, again, I'm a little bit concerned about reversion and stuff like that, but like, I'm just hoping for the best. This one thankfully did not really have any browning, unlike some of the other ones that were looking really rough, hence why I chose it. But like, look, there are a lot of half moons going on with this one. Although there is a little bit of sectoral variegation. And look at that stem and the petioles that have the variegation on it too. And it has a new leaf coming in, which we'll see if that has any variegation. It's a little bit hard to tell. I mean, even just look at that specific portion of the leaf right there. Oh my word. I absolutely adore Monstera Adansonii in general, like the normal version. And so being able to grow a variegated version, I'm pretty excited, a little bit terrified. Again, you best believe I'm gonna be like looking up care videos ASAP for this plant just to see if anyone has any extra tips to make sure it really thrives, because it's so beautiful and it's like a good sized plant. And again, I never really thought that I was gonna have one of these guys, so I'm just over here in absolute shock I'm dumbfounded, truly. All right, this is the last like plant, but I do have one bonus plant. This right here is a Louie discolor or a jewel orchid. And I've been finding myself wanting one of these for a really long time. And, you know, just never really having a good opportunity to buy one. But of course this was like right there, ripe for the taking. And this is like a gorgeous looking specimen. But again, in terms of care, I really don't know what I'm doing with this plant. So I'm going to be looking up care videos and hoping for the best. But yeah, they had a lot of really nice jewel orchids, but this has always been my favorite. Like this specific kind right here with the dark foliage and like the little lines on the leaves. I just think that it's absolutely stunning. And yeah, I believe that this is like a terrestrial orchid, so you can pot it up in soil. And it looks like they do have it potted up in soil here as well. So I'm probably just gonna kind of stay with that. But again, I'm definitely gonna be looking into care videos, care resources. But honestly, if you guys have any Louie discolors or alocasias or like any tips for any of these plants that I'm showing you, please feel free to just jump in the comments and tell me what your experience has been. Good, bad, ugly, all the details. This is a very large influx of plants into my collection that I wasn't necessarily planning on, and so I just want to be wise and careful and mindful because I care about these plants a lot, and I really want them to thrive in my collection. And again, I don't really know that I have like the perfect spots for them, which I know is like kind of a no-no in terms of like curating your houseplant collection and bringing in new plants. Like you're supposed to know in advance. And the advice I would give to you if you're a beginner, plant parent, any of those things, know in advance where you're gonna put plants that you're buying, or at least try to. I will find room, but honestly, I'm gonna need to create more planty spaces in my home with grow lights and figure that out because I don't have that figured out right now. But I've been wanting to get more like planty dedicated spaces with grow lights and shelving and all that sort of thing. It just is on the back burner at the moment. But hopefully sooner rather than later, I will get either another cabinet or more shelving or grow lights, any of those sorts of things. I will be figuring that out. All right, and then the last little bonus plant is a little Stapelia gigantea, which I absolutely love this plant. I think it's the cutest thing, and it's actually super fuzzy, which I think is my favorite part about the plant. It's so soft. I love it. I had a really, really nice large specimen in that first initial R&D room. I'm sure you saw it earlier. Obviously, I didn't want to take that because it was their one and only Stapelia. I was about to leave the room and I saw there was a piece of it that was just broken off, just sitting there on the shelf. And I was like, maybe can I take it? And my friend was like,
Oh yeah, they're just gonna throw that out.
I don't even know if it's still viable. It seemed kind of squishy and calloused over, so it had been knocked off for quite a while. With succulents and with cacti and that sort of thing, like they can actually survive independently for a while because they store so much water. So I just stuck it in some soil and I watered it in, and we're just gonna see if it roots for me. If not, it's not the end of the world. It's not a big deal because this one I got for free. It was just kind of a bonus. But if it does stick around, I am very excited to own one because I just think it's a really fun plant, and I've been wanting to increase my succulent collection very selectively with only succulents that I really, really like. But this one happens to be one that I've had my eye on for a little while. And I also just love the blooms because they get really big, stinky blooms. I don't know. I just think they're beautiful and very fun. Well, I'm a little bit overwhelmed because these are gorgeous plants and I'm excited about them, and it's kind of a lot, but I really hope that you guys enjoyed and found it as fascinating as I did to go through a greenhouse. Yeah, I'm really grateful to my friend for bringing me into his workplace and showing me around, getting to see a lot of plants. That was a really, really great opportunity and privilege, and I hope that I get to do it again someday. I mean, it's pretty cool. Not gonna lie. I think it would be like any plant lover's dream to visit their greenhouse. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please feel free to leave a like, comment, subscribe. All those things are super helpful for my channel. And yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye!